of St. Helena Parish?
Yes, I have. I spent a lot of my time in my teenage years in Pearl River, Louisiana, and Slidell, Louisiana.
Okay, so I'm just a couple of hours out of Slidell. We're actually from Livingston, which is a little east of Baton Rouge. It's where I was born and
Yeah,
raised.
yeah.
So, oh wait, let me get this straight. And so, my husband and I are, born and bred in this whole thing in this area. And
Recording in progress.
there we go. It's recording now. It's going to ask your permission, JJ, if it's okay
Yep,
if I
I
record
got
it.
it.
All right,
Absolutely.
guys. I just want to welcome everybody back to Starkey Farmstead. My name is Samantha. This is JJ Carrell. He is a retired United States Patrol agent of 24 years of the border, and he is the author of Invaded, the Intentional Destruction of the American Immigration System. Folks, it is an honor and a privilege to have somebody with this much knowledge come in to talk to us average people, us little homesteaders and farmsteaders, just the average Joe trying to make it in Joe Biden's America. So, JJ, welcome to the channel. We appreciate you being here with us, sharing your knowledge and wisdom. To get started, why don't you tell everybody a little bit about the book that you wrote and where they might could find that?
Okay, it's titled Invaded. It's on Amazon. It has been on for 1 year. It has been in and out of the Amazon bestseller list about 10 times. And I say that with pride, not bragging, because
Right.
when I published my book a year ago, I had a prominent publishing. So I was a first-time author, and I actually had a conservative publishing house, and then they censored my book. So I got my first taste of censorship, and over the 4th of July weekend, it got released the week before 4th of July. Over the 4th of July weekend, I actually retained my rights back from my publisher, then had to republish it myself, had to learn how to do that all on my own.
Yeah.
I remember this week. This was the week I did it last year, and I was frantic. I'm not a computer guy. I could get around it very well, but just knowing how to publish a book and how to do it, and oh my gosh, what a nightmare. But it was God's way of showing me, because you're going to do this again, Gigi. You're going to write
Yeah.
a book. You're not going to be dependent on anyone ever again. The world has changed as far
Yeah.
as the media landscape, and it is completely altered. But why I wrote the book, my last year in the United States Border Patrol, my title was a deputy patrol agent charge. So I was in the top 25 agents out of 2,500 in San Diego sector. So I want your audience to understand, when I'm talking to you today, I'm talking to you from an expert position of being an expert on immigration law and policy. I wasn't an administrative talking head that just kind of rose up the ranks. In fact, I didn't rise up the ranks as fast as I wanted to, because this treason has been bubbling for decades.
Right.
This is the manifestation of Obama, all the weak people like Bush and Clinton. So for 24 years, my last year in the United States Border Patrol was Joe Biden's first year. So I went through that, and I was eligible to be able to retire. And I saw to the future, if you will. There's no way I can stay. There's no way, because I'm not going to do what he wants, and then I'm going to be fired. So let's find another way to work this out. And I got out of the Border Patrol, and my wife said, you need to write a book. And I was very reluctant. I was like, I don't want anything to do with any of this anymore.
Yeah.
I just need out, because I fought for 24 years, and it felt like I was banging my head against the wall. And then she convinced me and said, hey, you need to sit down. You want to be a part of this again? You can't just sit on the sidelines. And she was right, I can't. And I knew I couldn't. So I decided I'll write this book. And I'll be honest with you, ma'am. I have a son, 12-year-old son, and I have a wife, and I have a job, another career. And I was working at night. 11, my thing was putting my son to bed, putting my wife to bed. And at 10 to 1, I would write every night. Then go to work and do it all over again. There were times that I was writing my book that I would stop, I would reread what I just wrote, and I would say a silent prayer like, no one's going to believe this. Like,
I know.
I know it's true. I know it's true, but no one's going to believe it, and I'm going to be ridiculed, and they're going to say I'm a liar. And I was like, okay, just keep going. And what I wrote, everything I wrote in that book is true, came true, or, which is shocking to me, even shocking to me, that it doubled. And I'll give you an example.
Yeah, it
At the
did.
time I was writing the book, it did. At the time I was writing the book, this was February, March of 2023. We, the Border Patrol was averaging anywhere from 6,000 to 7,000 illegal aliens arrested every day. I said in my book, I believe that it will go to 9,000 by May or so, and then we'll eclipse 10,000. And that was, at that time, that was insane world, like absolute clown world to say something like that. December 2023, we arrested for the whole month, almost every day, over 20,000 people.
Oh my gosh. Wait a second. Wait. I live in a community that has 23,000 people. So you're telling me at the southern border, at its peak, you guys were arresting 20,000 people.
Well, this is where we have to make an understanding. CBP lies about their data. Okay, I'm reporting their data, but they segment the data. They say, well, this is Southwest Border Apps. No. I don't want to talk about Southwest Border Apps. I want to talk about the apprehensions in the United States, meaning
right,
you have a northern border.
Yeah.
So total, that was over 20,000 a day total. I would guess it was about 17,000 a day on the southern border, about 3,000 to 5,000 on the northern border and the coastlines. So that's how they lie to you. So, and you're right, you live in a town that has, there are towns and cities, literally cities, littered across America that don't have 20,000 people in them.
I know. I know. I mean, living in one, it's that feeling that you know everybody around you, that you're safe. I know my neighbors. I have their numbers. I have their children's numbers. When there's a death or a birth, like we're a community, right? We're small enough to personalize what we do. And of course, we notice anybody that doesn't belong in our community because, well, we don't know you. Nobody knows you. What I want people to understand, JJ, is your love for this country. And what you're trying to tell people is this is illegal. All right. So what JJ Carrell is talking about right now to you is the illegal, silent invasion of America. That's essentially what we're trying to get across to people, because it's like you've got a fringe group of people, JJ, that literally don't think this is happening. They think it's a lie. They think it's a right or a conservative or a Republican issue, when they don't realize that it is the sanctuary cities that are taking the majority of the illegal aliens. And right now in Chicago, as Chicago residents can't pay their mortgages or their rent, they're being evicted. And then they are allowing the illegal aliens to come in and take over those homes with 0% interest rates, no down payment for the mortgage, and allowing them to move into what was a United States resident's home at one point.
Or rent it. And
rent it.
How can they afford that? Well, because they attach $9,000 of rent assistance to each illegal alien.
Right.
$9,000.
Wouldn't that be nice?
My mortgage in my household, my monthly household bills don't equal $9,000. So they're living at an upper middle class to the high upper class lifestyle.
Yes, they are.
$9,000 a month. Who's paying $9,000 a month for a mortgage?
Right.
Only somebody that lives in $1 million home.
That's exactly right.
I went down. I am filming a documentary that's almost complete called "This Is Treason." And it's at thisistreason.com. One of my stops was Chicago, because me and my production team, Ryan Matta, who's my business partner, we made a conscious decision. I said, look, when we go down and do this documentary, we'll show the border. Yes, everybody needs to understand what the hell's going on down there.
Yeah.
But I want to turn the camera and lens north, because I want to prove what our fellow government has done and is doing is treason. And what does treason look like? So I went to Chicago, New York, Philadelphia, everywhere you can imagine, and I showed them. So in Chicago, you're absolutely right. They being the minority black community in Chicago, in the worst. It wasn't even America. When I went, that was a different country in south side of Chicago. There's a lot of reasons why. However, they are replacing them with illegal aliens, and the majority of them from Venezuela. And the Venezuelan gangs are taking over everything. They're literally pushing out the black citizens and residents of Chicago and replacing them. This is a replacement theory. This
Yes,
is not
it
my
is.
words. I'm not making this up. This is a global replacement they've talked ad nauseum about. It's happening in Western Europe. Our leaders talk about it here in America. So what I'm telling you today, everything I'm telling you is fact-based, meaning DHS, CBP, DOJ data, government data, my experience, all my contacts that are calling me every day from the border. Everything I'm telling you, I want you to fact check. So it's funny how we met, or how I first came across you, is because my mantra is, you don't like me, you don't like that I'm white, whatever, you hate me because of my hair, whatever, or I grew up in the South, whatever it is. You can't dispute what I'm saying. What
That's
I'm
right.
saying is truth. You don't like my conclusion. And I always say this is my thing. Fact check me.
Right.
Please, everyone fact check me. And where I found you was somebody sent me, I did a video, interview with Clayton Morris from Redacted.
Yes.
This was a while ago about detention facilities. And I didn't think it was a big deal, because it's one of the million things that are destroying America. It's a big deal, but I just was like, okay, I'm going to report on this. I'm dealing with child sex trafficking as well, and narcotics, and I'm like, holy smokes. And somebody sent me a clip of you, and it was like something like they titled it, people don't believe what you're saying. And I was getting bombarded with people saying, that can't be true, that can't be true. And then your video, and I woke up about 6 a.m. and I saw it. I go, okay, I'll watch it before I get up. And I'm like, okay, here's this lady, she's gonna say that I'm crazy. And then you were like, nope, he's absolutely right. It's right there. And I was like, thank God, I love it. When I get fact checked, people fact check me, and they go, oh my God, that's not 20,000 a day in December of 2023. No, there's no way. And then they look at it and they're like, oh my God, that's true.
It is true.
So,
and I'm going to tell you. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I was going to tell you.
No, please go.
I come from a background of education. So I spent 10 years working on my master's plus 21, 4 certifications, English as a second language. They were pushing that 30 years ago because they knew it was coming. JJ, they've been moving. If you've worked for state, local, or federal government in the last 30 years, they've been prepping you in the backdrop for this. So, of course, they offered ESL, and I said, I'll take it because I just like to go to school. When I heard you speaking on Redacted, I sat there and I went, he's right. One, I have 2 sons in the military. I'm hear what's going on. The things that they're doing in the military that is disturbing, like taking away hot meals and giving them vouchers to go eat off, the base or on the base at somewhere because they don't want to feed our boys and girls anymore. Just nonsense like that. And I'm awake. I'm awake and I'm looking around and I'm like, God, what do you want me to do? And he's like, I just want you to educate people. Tell them the truth. This country's worth saving. We are the only constitutional republic ever in the history of the entire world. It is a beautiful system. We are not a democracy because we protect our minorities with tender gloves. We have a constitution that says women might be the minority or men might be the minority, but you can't not let them vote. And I try to explain that to people. You don't want to live in a democracy. A democracy is a mob rule mentality. And it is a terrible system, much like socialism, and is a terrible system. But JJ, when I look at what's happening in this country, the attack is coming everywhere. Education, I pulled out. When Obama came into office and said, Common Core is the new mandate by the federal government for our educators. This 7 years in the classroom, 2 degrees, 4 certification teacher went, I'll homeschool. And out the door I went. And I've never stepped foot in a public school and never will again under that demonic type of system. It's absolutely asinine to me that people think the economy's healthy and that we are currently safe in this country. If you were to give someone like me, I've got 2 acres, I love my Second Amendment rights. I live in the country. If you met me on the street and you had 5 minutes to tell me how to prepare myself, how, anywhere from running for local government to making sure I learn how to grow food, what would you say? You'd be like, Samantha, you need to do this right now to get ready for what's coming. What would you say to me?
I would say you better have the Second Amendment, and you better be armed, and you better have your ammunition, because they're going to go after the ammunition, or have been going after the ammunition. Then you need to have enough supplies. However, if you don't have land and you can't grow, you can grow in your house. You can grow in your in your side of your yard. That being said, all of that's going to go to the wayside. It just is, because you are talking about 330 million people that don't have food, don't have water. And what are they going to do? They're going to come to your house to get your water and your food, okay? Like locusts. So my thing, two things that I would say. You find like-minded people that when that time happens, and if you think it won't happen, maybe it won't happen in my generation, in my life. Maybe it'll happen in my son's, but it's going to happen, okay, if we don't change what we're doing. You get like-minded people, so then you have a community. Maybe that community is just 10 acres with 5, 7 neighbors, and then you do nighttime patrols. You control everything. Everyone has weapons, and everyone knows, hey, you can ransack this neighborhood. Do not go near Samantha's neighborhood.
Right.
They will kill you. Okay, and word will spread faster than cell phones work. And then the second thing that you have to do is you have to right now go, because our founding fathers gave us the greatest blueprint. Governance from the lowest level. We're going to continue to vote for presidents and try to get congressmen and senators. That federal government is corrupt to the core.
Yeah.
The only way we're going to take it is you take back in Louisiana's parishes, in Kansas where I live, the city council. You take over that city council. You take over that mayor. That mayor hires a police chief that will enforce laws. You vote for a sheriff that will only do what you want them to enforce laws. No illegal aliens, no detention facilities, no E-Verify, no welfare for illegal aliens, no illegal aliens, period. And then now you have a bigger community. And then another community like yours forms, and all of a sudden you have a very, very America First state. And that state fortifies itself. And the state does not ask the federal government for their rights. They just take them back. Every right they gave the federal government, they just say, it's mine now. That is how we win back America.
I love it.
Presidency, it's all lies. Does anybody trust the electoral process? No. But a small town can trust it, because you can put your people right next to your neighbor and say, we're counting this together. Okay,
that's right.
Absolutely. Whoever wins, but we're going to count it together. So arm yourself, find a community like-minded people, because I'm from law enforcement. So I've seen this. I've seen it on the border. I've seen it in communities. Do you know the first group of people in any war or any type of gang violence or anything that gets devoured first is
children.
The weak. The weak
yeah.
get devoured. The weak, or the people that are like, I don't want to be involved. Well, you're going to be involved.
Yes.
You are the low-hanging fruit for everybody. The bad guys will kill you first because they could take all your stuff. And then the good guys will hate you because you turn your back on us and you're just like them. So you're the enemy. You lose either way. So you might as well just choose a team.
That's
one
right.
Or the other. But that's what I would do. I have like-minded friends and family. Things go to crap. We're going to figure out a way to get together and circle the wagons, and then just let everyone know in the community, you come anywhere near here, it's over for you. That's it.
Yeah, we've been slowly building that concept where I live. And I try to tell people this, guys, I'm conservative. I tend to vote Republican, but I am not really a party diehard affiliate.
Nope.
I vote common sense. So our newest sheriff that we just voted in is Democrat, but he's a God-fearing, old-school Democrat. Everything he believes in, I believe in it too. It's just he happens to run on the Democrat Party ticket because he's always been Democrat, old-school Democrat. And we like him. We helped to get him elected to run our parish, because we are noticing where we're located north of Baton Rouge that we are being used to traffic people through our parish, drugs, guns, and they're coming directly through these back roads where there's not a big police presence, and there's a major interstate right on the other side of my parish. So they're coming through, JJ, and they're hitting this interstate that then gives them the ability to go east or west, north or south, through the entire United States, and they're doing it undetected. Well, there's some of us that aren't stupid, and we're seeing the traffic pick up. Illegal aliens, 3 cars in a row. Nobody has, the first car doesn't even have a license plate. It's got a sticker in it, a paper sticker, and it's like an SUV type vehicle or a van. And you've got 2 small vehicles behind it, and they're traveling. It's so obvious
Yeah.
there's something going on in that little caravan. And if they wreck, which happened recently, the car behind the lead vehicle, they get out, run to that car, they turn and run before the police comes. I watched it happen the other day. And I said, "Oh my God. And then the people that came to get the vehicle said, "Oh, it was a family member, they stole it." 12-year-old was interpreting because the parents couldn't speak English. And I told the police officer, said, "Arrest them." He said, "What?" I said, "They're covering up a crime." I mean, like, this is terrible. What are you doing? You're just standing here talking to a 12-year-old. Our cops don't know what to do. They're not trained. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know if they're going to lose their job to arrest an illegal alien for committing a crime. And I'm in shock. So when we had a new sheriff, our old one was going out. Everybody got on the ballot. I looked at the man that won. I said, "I know him. I grew up with him. I know his family. He knows mine." Went and spoke to him. He called me, said, "Will you help me get elected?" I said, "Yes, I will." People said, "But you're a Republican." I said, "No, friend, I'm a conservative. And I love America. And this man is right for the job." And so we got him in. And now I'm going to run for a local police jury. And somebody said, "You're going to run?" I said, "I am. I'm going to run for the police jury." Have I ever sat on anything like that? Nope. But I've got 3 years to prepare myself to take a position in my community. JJ, we have to take it back from the inside out, guys. Everybody under the
Yes.
sound of your voice and mine has a talent, has a skill that America needs, and you need to start applying it, whether that's writing books, whether that is teaching children, whether that is gardening and doing classes. Do a podcast, folks. I did a podcast for 2 years with no teeth. Don't let anything stop you. Like, I get so sick of hearing, "Well, I don't, I don't know how." Well, like you said, you didn't know how to write a book, but God said learn, you know? So
I
people,
agree. We all have talents and treasures, and I think you just figure out what they are, and then you go and you apply them and you help our nation. Because
yeah,
I always, and I'm not equating myself to these men at all, but our founding fathers were geniuses.
yeah, they
But when you
were.
look at their ages, the old man was George Washington in his early 40s.
Yeah.
Everyone else was a teenager in their 20s. And they did it. They fought the greatest army in the history of the world at the time. And they had no weapons. They had to steal all their weapons from the British after they killed them. And so now we're asking people to do minimal stuff to take their country back, because the left, they're determined. They're restless. They don't take a break. They just keep pounding away and pounding away. We didn't end up in a world, in a society where you have 45 to 50 million illegal aliens in your country. We didn't get to a society where we're mutilating our children under some crazy fantasy that you can change your sex. We didn't abort 60 million babies just in one day. We didn't have LGBTQ and gay marriage and drag queen story hour in our schools. That did not happen overnight. It happened because the American individual, the citizen, allowed it to happen. And I'll be quite honest, I'll even lay it down further biblically. I'll lay it down right, all of our sins, right at the feet of the American man. Because the American man, per God, is supposed to protect their wives and their children and their family, and we did not. We sat here and we allowed the insane, the mentally insane, to destroy our family. Now, we're looking at 50 million illegal aliens in America. I am watching rapes and murders of our women and children by the hundreds, if not thousands, every week. Like, it's happening all over America. I could spend 24 hours marathon just going over one murder and rape after another that's happened since Joe Biden has taken office. And why? Why is it happening? Because the American man, the average American man, is impotent, weak, fat, lazy, and this is what we got. I'm sorry, but there are, even outside of those millions of fat, lazy, disgusting men that wear man buns and they don't know what they're talking about and they're weak spiritually and physically, there are millions of men like me that are ready and they're willing to do what they got to do to take this country back. Because, mind you, it's either or, just like in life. Nothing stays stagnant. Nothing stays as it is. We're going to continue down this miserable well of misery and despair, or we're going to come out of it. There is no other way. How do you come out of it? Are we going to go back to the old adage, we're going to vote our way out of it? Do you actually think that's going to happen?
No.
So how do we get our country back? Well, our founding fathers said, once you have a tyrannical government, you have a moral obligation to oppose and tear down that tyrannical government. And I know that scares everybody, but our founding fathers knew this day was going to happen.
Yeah.
We're closer to that day than ever before in the history of the United States of America.
I agree. And I tell people that. So you said something and it made me remember, I did a video recently and I was talking to people, just like you said, about statistics. And I said, guys, look, they just started talking about making our daughters between the ages of 18 and 24 selective service sign up again.
Yes.
Why? Why did they do it? So I, like you, am all about reading. It's in front of your face. You can watch 4 hours of TV, folks. Watching, you can tell me everything about the Kardashians, but you don't know how to look up any information about your own country, and I'm ashamed of you. So I got on the .gov. There's about 20 million .gov sites. Go find one. And I pulled up the statistics on why they want to institute the selective service for our daughters. You know what they said? 70 something percent of the males between the ages of 16 and 26 cannot be selected for the military without a doctor's note saying they're okay. You know what that means? They're mentally ill. They're on some kind of drug. They're diagnosed with some form of mental health issue. They're fat. They have diabetes. They can't handle it. America is doomed when 70% of our breeding stock of male needs a doctor's excuse to enter the military, JJ. I went, oh my God. Like, no wonder you want our daughters, because our boys can't. I had 4 children, 2 of them males. Both my boys served this country with integrity and with honor. But this mama's not sitting back while you sacrifice my child. Y'all are going to stand up. You know, if you have a young son, my best advice to you is stop feeding him processed foods. It's changing your children from the DNA molecular makeup of your children are changing, folks. I tell people this story, JJ, and a lot of people don't understand this. Autism is new, folks. It has only been here for 30 years. Never in the history of America did we have something called autism or a spectrum. We now have 1 in every 7 children born in this country on a spectrum. I'm telling you, it's coming from the food and the dyes and, well, the mandatory, that they make you give your children. You're killing your own kids. So stop saying we don't know what's causing autism. I'm telling you, as a professional, what you're putting in your children's body is making them sick. So be a better parent and start growing your own food. There's no other way around it. No other way, JJ. They're going to kill us one way or the other, folks. And the replacement theory came from the World Economic Forum. I found that a year ago, and I read the whole thing and was just shocked that CNN and MSNBC will get on there and say, this is a conspiracy theory. And I can show you the website for the World Economic Forum where it's right there saying that the Western world's, the developed world's birth rates are not high enough. We must move third world immigrants into those countries to help replace the dying population. So don't tell me replacement theory is not true.
Well, you have to, and you're absolutely right. Your audience, and I tell all the audiences, you have to understand these people are extremely arrogant. They think they're better than you, so they speak openly about what they're doing. Everything that you need to know, they've already said. They've written articles about it. They've held interviews. They hold forums about it. Let's just look at what they've done to the United States of America. Yale and MIT did a study back in 2019 about the number of illegal aliens in America. It's 2019. They found that it was 29 million was the height. They did an algorithm. They pushed all kinds of information into it, demographic information, and ran that algorithm 1 million times. The height was 29 million. They found the median to be 22. I thought that was still low, but I said, okay, let's just go with their data. Everyone agreed. Everyone in the government said, okay, now it's 22 million. It went from 11 million to 22 million. Under Joe Biden, he will have, this is projected to the end of his term in 4 months, 5 months, all the data keeps rising, so I'm being conservative. This is DHS data. 12 million illegal aliens will be arrested by Joe Biden with a 95 to 97% release rate. So all 12 million will be released into America. At any given time of the day, 80% of the border has no Border Patrol agents on it, no law enforcement. So DHS claims 3 million getaways. Those are people that cross the unprotected border, abscond. I know that number, and people in Congress even finally coming around and admitted to it. All of my buddies tell me on the border, they laugh at the 3 million. We know that number to be anywhere from 15 to 18 million. So now we're anywhere from 27 to 30 million people have crossed the United States border undetected, were arrested, and released. 30 million. Thus, you have congressmen, Clay Higgins was one of them, multiple of other ones have come out and stated, yeah, they reluctantly admit there's 45 million illegal aliens in the United States of America. I know that number to be closer to 50. So what does that mean?
That's one in every four.
One in six.
1 in 6.
1 in 6.
Okay,
so 1 in 6 residents in America are illegal aliens.
I want people to understand that. Like, these are people not paying taxes because legally they can't work. So they don't have a social security number. You're not paying taxes without a social security number, folks. Learn how this country runs. So if you don't have a social security number, you're not paying in taxes. So they're not paying taxes, yet they're pulling from the tax base. So you've got, well, oh my gosh, that's...
Okay, so now let's go one step further. Let's talk about the replacement theory. So you have 50 million. Let's just use that as a round number, okay? 50 million. They reproduce, they being illegal aliens, historically, anywhere from 2 to 6 times the rate of U.S. citizens. U.S. citizens are not even a replacement. They don't even reproduce at a replacement level. So you are having a dying population of Americans not reproducing. You have another group of individuals that are illegal that are reproducing at a 2 to 6 time ratio. The majority of them are 60% or more are single adult military age men. You do the math, it's over. And then when you know what I know, and this is where Mayorkas, the Secretary of DHS, has destroyed everything and he works this way. He destroys everything inside the DHS, so the average citizen has no idea. Let me tell you how they're destroying through the demographics. It'll take me 1 minute, but no one knows this because people just don't understand. When only people in America that can sponsor or bring in an immigrant, a family member, etc., is a legal resident of the United States of America, someone has a green card or a U.S. citizen. That's it. Okay, that's it. And when I want to, the old days, let's say there's an Haitian man, he's working 2 or 4 jobs, he's busting his hump, he has his green card, he makes enough money, he goes, I want to bring my brother in from Haiti. Well, he goes to ICE or DHS and he gives a form called the I-134. It's a declaration of financial declaration, like you get in a mortgage.
Right.
I can pay my mortgage, I can pay for him. The United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, the USCIS, which is a powerful organization within DHS on immigration, has now come out under Joe Biden, and Mayorkas stated everyone under temporary protected status, DED status, DACA, everyone that's under asylum and parole, which is tens of millions of people. They are now, which they are, legal term is they're a legal alien. But we're changing their legal term to legal resident. Well, why? Because now they're legal residents. They can petition for their family members to come into America.
Oh my God.
But then you say, but then it gets worse. Then you say, wait a minute, they have to do a declaration of financial support. No, they don't anymore. Because under this new law or policy, they're allowing the NGOs to be their financial backstop. So you, the federal government, gets their money from us. They give tens of billions with a B
Yes.
to the NGOs. The NGOs now backstop financially the illegal aliens to bring in more of their family. And they can bring up as many. It's the old days of me just bringing my brother and we'll both work to bring in our sister and we'll all three work to bring in our mother. No. Now that Haitian man can say, hey, I would like all 10 of my family to come. So now you're looking at a math problem with exponential variables attached to it. If we do not eradicate our nation of all these illegal aliens and then eradicate our government of these traitors, and I say that without hesitation, traitors, the government, it's over. It's over. Whatever you may call the United States of America, it may exist under a name, but it will never be the country that we live in today or lived in 10 years ago. That's just the truth.
Yeah. And I try to explain, right. It is a math problem. It's like chicken math, okay? If you farm or you homestead, you know what I'm talking about. You start with a couple of chickens, you turn around, you started with 5, now you've got 40. And it's like it just never stops. But I will tell you guys this. The types of illegal aliens coming in are not the cream of the crop. Okay, so you've got people willing to pay a cartel to come here illegally. So they know somebody in the cartel world. So they're already connected, right? You're not coming here. There are no doctors coming through the borders illegally. There are no teachers and no police officers. What you've got is guerrilla warfare, drug dealers, people with no education, people with multiple diseases and health problems, mental problems, drug problems. And they come here, if you've been watching TikTok or YouTube at all in the last year, you see one Venezuelan after another throwing their money around, encouraging their people to come here and have more babies. Guys, they don't want to assimilate. This is not, we've never had this in America. People who literally hate us, China, Russia, and the Middle East, coming into our country for what? What are they here for? They don't like us. They don't want to be American. So why are they here? They're here to kill us. I do. In the deepest part of my heart, I know it's true. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. They want to kill us.
Well, let's look at the data. Just look into the 12 million that came, and I will support everything you just said, and I'm going to back it up with hard CBP data. Number one, they are not sending their best over here. 50% or more of illegal aliens are illiterate in their own language, not English, whatever country they came from.
Exactly.
Okay. There are 195 nations on planet Earth. Over 180 are in the arrest data of the United States Border Patrol. So the whole Earth is coming to America.
Yeah.
The whole planet. Okay. Now with breakdown, this is just the 12 million that we arrested. I'm not talking about the other 18 million absconded, but I'm telling you, it's going to equal a mirror. If anything, is going to tip harder to the bad side. Okay, because when you cross undetected, you're doing that for a reason, because you're a bad guy.
Yeah.
Within the 12 million illegal aliens, you will have over 1 million Haitians. You will have over 1 million Venezuelans. You will have 60 to 70% of everyone that crossed the border is a single adult military-age man from the continent of Africa and the Middle East and China. You will have 250 Russians. You will have 210,000 Chinese nationals, which my intel that I'm receiving, that they have identified over 120,000 PLA soldiers inside those 210,000 Chinese. Inside that 12 million, you have 250,000 special interest aliens called SIAs. Those are individuals that come from terrorist nations that harbor terrorism or support terrorism. We know them in layman's terms as terrorists.
Yeah.
250,000 They have been arrested and released. I am telling you, America, the base number of terrorists in the country is 250,000. I believe is closer to 1 million. Let me try to put this into context for your audience. I arrested directly and indirectly in 24 years, 20,000 people. I saw another 80,000-ish be arrested by just being in the stations and working. I worked all of California and all of Arizona.
Yeah.
So I saw it all. Okay? So let's take 100,000 in 24 years. Do you know how many special interest aliens I arrested or had visibility of?
Probably
Less than
50%.
5.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
Wait.
No.
So what you're
Less
saying
than
is they're
5,
going
man.
up. That number is going up exponentially with the special interest.
We have never seen this in the history of the United States Border Patrol. I arrested less than 5, over 100, out of everything I saw, less than 5. Do you know how many I released?
Zero.
Do you know why? Because if I released a special interest alien, I would have my gun and badge taken away. Let me tell you why this is so important. This is why I'm going to drive this point home. Special interest alien, this is how it used to work. I would get a special interest alien. I was a leader, this number 2 in my station. Everything would stop. The whole station would stop. We would call the Joint Terrorism Task Force. That's the FBI task force that comes in called JTTF. They do a deep dive, and they find out, hey, this guy from Yemen, his name's Mohammed. He's a terrorist. And like Men in Black, the movie, they're gone. They take them, and we don't. We're like, I don't know where they do. If they don't, they say, okay, Mohammed from Yemen is not on our terrorist watch list. I think he's connected, but we can't make the connection. Here, give him back to you. You deport him. 10-4, I call ICE. ICE, I got a SIA, needs to be deported back to Yemen. I send my report all the way to Washington, D.C. It comes all the way back. It goes to ICE, and then that's how controlled it was. Now, we are arresting so many special interest aliens that JTTF doesn't have enough agents, so they just don't even interview. They don't even interview.
So when we have multiple 9/11s pop off across this country at one time, synchronized, and we lose our military bases, our oil industry, come on, people. I'm a farmer, okay? So I see what's been happening with the food processing plants and the chicken farms. Yes. Funny how planes are hitting them. Guys, I'm going to give y'all the best I can. I went to Maui last year, JJ, because there was a rumor, but you never know it is a rumor, right? That over 2,200 children were missing post-fire in Lahaina, Maui, right? So I'm watching all these people, creators, do videos about these missing children, but nobody's going to Maui. Like, nobody would go there and see what was happening. It's part of America. So I did. What I realized was it was incorrect, but I saw a lot of other stuff going on. But my point is this. Americans like to talk about what's going on. Oh, there's missing children in Maui. Oh my gosh, there's missing children in Maui. And the crazy thing was, JJ, when I disproved it, I got hate mail. My life was threatened. People cussed me out. And I said, you should be happy that an American mother who was an educator got up, flew to Maui, and proved to you that these babies were not kidnapped. But you're not happy with that. They love the story behind it. If you get my feel, they love to take themselves out of their boring, overworked day by conspiring about it. But none of them put feet to anything. Nobody does anything, JJ. They just sit in their houses and gossip, basically. They don't, I don't understand it. Like, folks, America needs you. Wake up. Like, red pill yourself.
Well, and you have to listen to what the left says. So Christopher Wray, who's the FBI director, I don't trust him, but you listen to what he says about the terrorists. He says there's more red flags now than there were before 9/11. And they asked him under congressional oath, where are all the terrorists that crossed the border? And he just shrugged his shoulders like, there's too many. I don't know where they all are. And let me just give you an example. You had 8 Tajikistanians cross the border in San Diego, I believe it was. 8 of them. They're all ISIS terrorists, but they couldn't vet them fast enough, and they released them. Those 8 men traveled over 7,500 miles together. They crossed the border and they separated. They went to Los Angeles, Philadelphia, and New York City. Why? Because they were going to their cells. That's why. And then ICE let it slip that no, it wasn't 8. There's many more that were in that group, and they can't find them. That's just one example of thousands of arrests that have gone, tens of hundreds of thousands of arrests that we just released. Do you know how many people I released in all of my career? Those 100,000 people that I saw on the border be arrested. Do you know how many people we released into America out of 100,000? 0. You know why? Because it's against the Immigration and Nationality Act to release illegal aliens. So now I'm telling you, the United States Border Patrol has been in existence for 100 years in May of this year. 1924, we were established. For 96 and a half years, we never released any illegal aliens that were arrested on the border. 0. None. 0. And now I'm telling you, in 3.5 years, that they have arrested over 12 million illegal aliens on the northern and southern borders and released them all into America. Now you tell me if that's not treason.
It is.
Come on, I challenge anyone watching this, fact check me and then come back and call me on your podcast or meet me out at Town Square and call me a liar. You can't. And then if you can't call me a liar and you don't like my conclusion that our government is tyrannical and they are traitors, Joe Biden's a traitor.
He is.
Mayorkas is a traitor. And if you don't agree with my conclusion, that's fine. It's America. Then I want, as an intellectual conversation, I want you to tell me what the hell is going on. What is your conclusion? And every time I ask that question to right and to left people, they have no explanation. So I say, if you don't have a conclusion, but my conclusion makes you upset, but my conclusion is backed with immense amount of data and experience, why wouldn't you just look at what I say?
Yes.
Why? Why would you just not take it at face value? But why would you not look at me and say, well, maybe I should look into it at the minimum and find out, is this guy lying about detention facilities? Why is the United States of America having bids for detention facilities across the United States, and they're under the category of housekeeping?
Okay,
Why?
so yes, thank you. I want to tell everybody. So when I saw your clip, somebody sent it to me. I have something called a DUNS number. I am a federal contractor, folks. I can be. Let me just put it that way. I can write grants. I can work on projects. I can sell food to the military. I set myself up to grow, right? I don't know. The Holy Spirit told me to do it, so I did it. I've been vetted by the federal government inside and out. Like, they know me personally at this point. When you said that, I went, hold on. I can check that site myself.
Yep.
I pulled it up and I started to cry. And my husband's like, what are you crying about now? And I said, they are building detention centers across this country. Now, here's something interesting, JJ. Several people have been sending me information. I'm proud. My platform digs. These are educated people that don't want to be lied to. So I gave them the information, showed them how to find it, and they are all now digging. What they have found is some of the sites that they are requesting bids for to build out are already mental institutions. They are already affiliated with the military in some form or fashion, or there's already something there. And it's kind of a hush-hush thing. And people are very concerned. They're finding them all across the United States in their communities. And they're like, Samantha, is this what I think it is? I'm like, yeah, that is a bid that was put out in June of 2024 by the Department of Defense requesting, somebody build a 4,200 bed facility for quote unquote illegal aliens. Folks, let me tell you something. You are fixing to become the illegal alien in your own country. You better wake up.
Well, here's and why I'm looking down is I'm trying to pull up the lady that sent me all the RFQs and everything. I was trying to pull it up while you were talking. I was looking down at my phone. Let me make sure your audience understands how this comes about. There are approximately 44,000 ICE beds across the southwest border in the United States of America. they are almost all empty. All of them. They're held. ICE beds are free. So if you arrest a legal alien, you can't release them. You have to send them to an ICE facility to see an immigration judge, however long that takes, and then they deport them or they get relief, whatever it is. There's over 44,000. There's 0 people in them. So Mayorkas keeps coming in front of Congress and saying, I need more money for ICE beds, ICE beds, ICE beds. And they keep saying, no, you're not even using the ones you have. So what did he do? He took money in existing DHS contracts, pushed it down to FEMA, and now they're having bids. Now, let's follow this up, just deductive reasoning. You have 44,000 ICE beds. You already have prisons, state, local, and federal, across the nation, and they're releasing them at rates unprecedented. So they're not building prisons. They're not building ICE facilities, beds, because they already have enough. Who are they building detention facilities for in the United States of America? Well, New York City just came out with a ruling, New York State, excuse me, with Kathy Hochul, and gave her the ability under a next emergency situation that if somebody does it, they think that this group of people are contaminated and need quarantine, well, they can put them in quarantine. The courts approved that. Just connect the dots, America. Just see what your government is doing. I got a million things to do in my life. The last thing I thought in my career was I'd be doing podcasts and interviews and write books about how our government is tyrannical and going and doing documentaries on child sex trafficking. You think I want to be involved in that evil cesspool? No.
I know.
But somebody has to say it. You don't want to believe that your federal government is the largest child sex trafficking organization in modern history.
No, I don't.
You don't want to hear that, do you? You don't want to know what's happening to those children and to our children in America. The drugs, narcotics. I'm in Philadelphia, and I'm looking at literally a movie set of thousands of Walking Dead zombies everywhere, filled with narcotics, all from Mexico. All of it. All of it. Philadelphia is over 2,000 miles away.
That's right.
If you don't think that it can touch every segment of your society, I'll give you another example. Just came out yesterday. Mauritanians is a country, nationals from somewhere in continent Africa. They have figured out a route to bounce around Central and South America and then fly into Cincinnati, Ohio. So now they're having thousands. So Cincinnati will change overnight. Cincinnati is a dump. Cincinnati has major infrastructure and crime and poverty you can imagine. And now you're going to bring in thousands of Africans that do not speak English.
And are illiterate in their native tongues. So it's not like you're going to educate them in English, folks. Okay?
No. How are you going to begin? So if you think of this, you're going to have to begin to teach them in their native language how to read and write, and then transfer it over to English.
Yeah. And I can tell you as an educator, right, there's not enough of us trained in ESL to make this happen. And I'm going to point out something, and I'm going to tie another knot in the string that JJ and I are trying to weave for you folks. Has anybody noticed at the CDC how sexually transmitted diseases have just gone whoop across this country? Let me tell you why. There are no treatments in third world countries. There are no OBGYN appointments. There are no condoms. There is rape. You've got a mentality. Men there marry 12-year-old girls. So when they come to America, they're not leaving these beliefs behind, folks. If you put me in Africa today, I'm still going to be Samantha with her belief in freedom and the constitutional republic, even though I'm living in Africa. So you take Africa and bring her to America, or South America to America. These people still believe a 12-year-old is up for grabs. Sexually transmitted diseases in places like Houston and New York City and Chicago, Atlanta, it's so bad. The CDC has called them hot zones. It's almost pandemic levels of AIDS and syphilis that antibiotics don't help with, folks. Because it's been going, and if you guys don't know, untreated syphilis causes severe mental issues. You've got to look at everything happening in America in a broader picture and begin preparing yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, because it's coming, whether you want it to or not. Soon, you're not going to be able to sit in front of that TV or hold your cell phone up like it's your best friend, folks. It's just not going to happen.
In Houston, they said last week or the week before, in 1 week, they had 20,000 new cases of syphilis.
Yeah.
Syphilis, 20,000 new ones. Not total in Houston, just new. Well, why is that? You said it right. Why is New York, Chicago, and Houston and Atlanta? Because there's immense illegal alien populations there. You think it's, and you're right, I did this for my whole life. I would see somebody come in and I would say, okay, I would arrest them, we'd bring them in the station and say, okay, who is this? Is this your daughter? No, that's my wife. Okay, hold on. You're 27 years old. How old are you, sweetheart? I'm 12. I'm 11. I'm 13. Okay, time out. No. And they're shocked when I tell them that's illegal. Why is it? They're like indignant. Like, no, that's my wife. That's my wife. That's the world they're coming in. They don't, like you said, they don't shed that stupidity that makes them a third world country. They bring the third world country here, and guess what our leaders tell us to do? We not only need to embrace their insanity and moral depravity, we need to celebrate it. We need to celebrate their lives.
Yeah.
And then I ask people, well, you're all for diversity. Great. Diversity is not a strength, okay? Diversity, inclusion, equity. It's not a strength.
No, it's not.
We're not a diverse country. We're a nation of individuals that believe the same thing. That's why we're great. We believe in freedom, opportunity, law, and order.
Because a house divided falls.
Yes. And then what are you going to do? Are you going to accept and have to learn 180 different diverse nationalities?
Right.
That's what you're now putting on me as an American. I have to learn, accept, and embrace everything that 180 different nations. How do I even do that? Of course, they have no explanation, and everyone is okay. It's like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan when they go into the ring until they're punched in the face.
Amen.
Americans, the left, always has a plan until their wife gets raped, until their child is impregnated at 10 years old, when their child is murdered under a bridge in Houston by two Venezuelans.
Right. God bless that family. That's terrible.
But that's not an anomaly. That's going on across America, and that's just what we know. How many other atrocities are being hidden? Let me tell you a dirty little secret of law enforcement, and why you don't hear about all the rapes and murders, and they bubble up and then they just explode, is because local law enforcement has no idea how to categorize these people. They're looking at a guy from Sudan or Yemen or Mediterranean, and know what they list them as? U.S. citizen, white. U.S. citizen, white. I saw it my whole life. I would see these people come in, I would arrest them, they'd have FBI rap sheet, and I would look at it, and it would says, this subject's a U.S. citizen, and he's white. And I'm like, these people in law enforcement, what in the hell are you doing? Why would you put this down? So it's all a lie. They've distorted the data because they inputted crappy data.
Yeah.
So when you talk about people that are being raped, let's just talk one. I mentioned that little girl in Houston. Little girl, 12 years old, braces, beautiful little curly red hair, going in that awkward age between still being a little tiny.
I know.
So guess what these two Venezuelans do? These two Venezuelans in Houston take her, kidnap her, take her under a bridge, and for 2 hours, now listen to what I'm saying. For 2 hours, they rape her. Okay, do you know how long 2 hours is?
Yeah,
you and I have
do.
been talking for 1 hour. Another hour onto this conversation, and you are being raped for 2 hours, and then they strangle her to death and throw her lifeless dead body in a ditch. Now, for you to understand, audience, Venezuelans, right now, the nation of Venezuela came out proudly and stated, we are now at a 22-year low in murder rates in Venezuela. Well, why is that?
Because they're all here.
Donald Trump said they pushed all their prisons out, and they're all here in the United States of America. You know who killed Lake and Riley? The beautiful little girl, the nursing woman, and disfigured her skull. That was the report. Disfigured her skull. That was in Venezuela. I could go on and on and on.
Yeah, they're violent. Yeah, people don't understand that. They seem to think that all these people just Oh, I just love them. Well,
Oh
guys,
yeah.
the Bible says my people perish for lack of knowledge. So I'm gonna tell you this, JJ. It may cut off on us because the Zoom's gonna. I think it's supposed to end at
Yep.
like 10 on my side, so it may cut off. But we'll just keep talking until it cuts us off. But let me tell you guys something. The Bible tells you not to hang around people that lust for blood. If your brother says, let's go rob, you're supposed to get away from them. But what you're seeing, people from Venezuela, there is a huge difference in their culture and ours. So you have uneducated people that stop school. Now, I'm an educator, so don't dare try to say I'm racist. I know what I'm talking about. They drop out of their public schools between 8 and 12, the majority, over 60%. So you're 12 years old, you drop out of school. What are you going to do then? You're going to cause trouble because idle time is the devil's playground. The streets are littered with burnt houses and huts, drug deals going on, people beating, men sitting around drinking all day. This is the lifestyle that they want. I try to explain to people in the community that I live in. People choose in America to spend their days sitting on their porch getting drunk. You can say what you want, but that is literally what they choose to do with their day. People in Venezuela, the majority of them choose to not finish school. They choose to run around with sticks and create gangs and beat each other and become very violent at an early age. You can take them out of Venezuela and bring them to America, but they're literally going to create a mini Venezuela wherever they are because that is what they know. And humans are creatures of habit. So if you brought in a few thousand, spread them out, you could integrate them into the community. People, they would be by themselves and not in a big group, so they would be watching and maybe start to learn what is allowed. You've got to bring people in, you got to teach them how our country runs. People don't even know the laws. They think it's perfectly okay to walk up and just do whatever they want to whomever they choose because in their country, it's not against the law. So I don't know,
But
JJ.
see,
It's
but
not an
here's-
easy
but
answer.
here's- Well, no, the easy answer is very easy. You shut the border down. You put the military on the border. You build a wall. It's impenetrable.
You get rid of them.
You do e-verify with our Real ID Act that's already been approved, and we're mandated to get these real IDs. And you cannot get anything in America unless you show your ID.
Yeah.
And I want everyone is eradicated out of our nation. Don't tell me it can't be done. It's already been done. We already did Operation Wetback in the 1950s under Eisenhower. We're over 1.5 million illegal aliens self-deported. Don't tell me it can't be done. Don't. And it's not hard. The world is black and white. Humans make the gray area. God tells us exactly what you're supposed to do. And if you be righteous, if you want to save this country, it's very simple. You shut the border down. Everyone that is in any type of form of status, they're not a legal resident, you're gone.
Yes.
You're gone.
Gone.
You're just gone. And if I find you, because I'm going to deputize every state, local, federal aid, local law enforcement, sheriffs, PD, everyone. And every time they catch an illegal alien, they're going to get money from the feds. Well, where's that money going to come from? Well, I'm not going to send any more billions of dollars to Ukraine or Israel or anywhere else.
Exactly.
All money stays in America. We're going to take care of America. We're going to clean this nation out.
Did you hear what
But
they
if we
did in
don't-
Panama? I didn't mean to interrupt you because you're right. If we
No.
don't, we're in trouble. But recently, how do you say his name? Mayorkas?
Mayorkas.
All right. He agreed with the Panama president that we, the American people, are going to build facilities, train the Panama people, and we're going to stop the illegal aliens from going through the Darien Gap for Panama. That's what we're going to do. And then when we catch them, we're going to fly them back to their countries of origin. Bet you $1, JJ. He's going to fly them straight into America.
Well, that's it. Okay. I could spend a whole hour on this guy. I wrote a whole chapter on him. He's the head of the snake. Not only will he fly him into America, he's already been doing it. Center for Immigration Studies did a FOIA request on CBP and said, you're lying about your data. And they came out and they finally had to admit, yes, we flew in over 221,000 people from outside of America into the United States of America. We did not let you know. They're illegal aliens. We released them. Then they came back with another FOIA and said, I want updated data on the previous FOIA. And then the CBP came out and had to admit, yeah, we didn't even change anything. Now it's over 400,000. The people that I know, the intel that I have, just on one airline called Swift Airlines, they've flown in 1.4 million.
I saw that this morning.
Into America.
Yeah,
Right?
I was watching your
1.4.
older. 1.4 million flown in by
You
Swift
understand?
Airlines.
And then, so we come back full circle for this whole hour of conversation. And the question has to be asked, why would your federal government bring in 30 million people in 4 years, fly in millions of people off the radar in the middle of the night? Why are you flying children in the dark of night in private chartered jets all across America and transporting them into people that are not sponsors or family members? Why are you doing this? Why are you allowing drugs to pour into our country? Why are you allowing terrorists, PLA soldiers, enemies from nations like Russia, Iran, Iraq? Why are you doing that? And the only logical explanation is your federal government made a decision all the way back before 2021 when Biden won that they were going to destroy the United States of America, and the vehicle they were going to use was going to be legal immigration. How do I know that that meeting took place, or meetings? Because day one of Joe Biden's term, day one, he signed 94 executive orders, and every one of those executive orders was to destroy every immigration policy that President Trump had in place. Now, why would you do that? And so let me just drive this point home. When Trump left office, we were arresting 500 to 600 people a day, and everyone was being deported. That is a nothing. It's like a drip, a faucet drip. The day Joe Biden took office, the day, he went to 5,000 to 6,000 arrests a day, all the way up to present day, and up to over 20,000 a day. Listen to what I'm telling you. The United States of American government is the enemy. They are tyrannical, and they're trying to. I'm going to give you 3 quotes because I know our time's short. 3 quotes. First quote, we are going to fundamentally transform the United States of America. Second quote, we are going to have unrelenting waves of immigrants coming to America that will change our demographics and make the Anglo-Saxon citizen a minority in his own country, and that's a good thing. Third quote, we need to allow citizenship for the 11 million or more illegal aliens in America to take our jobs. That was Obama, Vice President Biden, and Chuck Schumer. I don't have to make up a theoretical explanation. All I have to do is quote the individuals that are in charge and look at what they say and look at their actions, and 2 and 2 equals 4. If you want to think that 2 and 2 equals 9 and you want to live in fantasy land, just get out of the way, right? Just get out of the way. But don't challenge me and say that I'm a conspiracy theorist when I'm an educated man.
Amen.
24 years experience, and I know what I know. I'm not making this up, and I take no joy in spending an hour talking about this evil. I don't.
I know.
I sold enough books. Right. I have a pension. I have everything. I don't need anything. I don't need this.
Right. Amen.
But I'm not going to. But Samantha, I tell you one thing I'm not going to do. I have a 12-year-old son that I'm going to make a